These rollers are going to cost more than just the parts. We're going to have to buy a new breaker bar for this one. It was all going well on the job until it was not going well on the job. This track fell off, which led us to further investigate and inspect what was going on. We found out 3 of the 4 roller bearings on this side were trashed, 1 on the other side. Furthermore, this guy is being a bear, will not come loose. Lots of heat, lots of penetrating oil, cannot get it off. Okay, we got this side off. We got this track loosened up. We're able to pull this out freely. All that's working good now. The other side, not the case. This torque wrench is on like 250 foot-pounds, and I tried moving this and it just immediately clicked. So this guy is locked solid. So that's gonna be fun. I don't even know how to get started here. I've got to get that track off. I just ordered 4 more rollers, so I'll have all brand new rollers on this side. We already ordered these 4, so we'll have brand new rollers all around. This front looks good. Sprockets are pretty good condition. These bolts right here are pretty wore, and we've got some wear right there, right across there. Obviously once this is the right tension, those should be fine. Ordered new bolts as well on this order. So I missed it on film, but that under tension there, just heating this up, that actually started moving. Yes. She's hot. How good is this Mac breaker bar? Dude, that thing looks straight still. That's nuts. Been working on the S600TX. Finally at a point where we can start putting it back together. We have made quite the mess, quite the carnage. So, rollers are all toast. All in different stages, from completely shot to kind of okay. Some of the bolts we had to cut out. Ordered a full new roller set, full new bolt set. That's ready to go. We've got this front idler is good. Got this all cleaned up, ready to go, repainted. Used the John Deere Buff Primer Sealer and the construction yellow paint. Pretty close match to the Vermeer. I know this paint's probably got a little bit of fading from new. Used some automotive primer on the black areas and the semi-gloss finish off the black. This adjustment bolt on this Vermeer S600TX has been a royal pain in the butt. This adjustment bolt is supposed to loosen up, to loosen the idler and spring and allow it to come back in, and allow the track tension to loosen up. This bolt was a royal pain in the butt. It was completely froze, heated right here, heated on the inside, couldn't really get it to move. Finally ended up forcing off the track and removed the track, pulled the front idler out, which happens to be a little gritty, got a little bit of movement to it. So pulled that off, and then we could access the bolt on this side. So was able to work that free. Broke a ton of, I broke so many tools using that. The tool to fix it was this Icon 36-inch, 3/4 inch breaker bar with this, I ordered this off Amazon, the 3/4 adapter, so 3/4 and 3/4. That thing with some heat is finally able to get it moving. These things protected the threads, so this goes right here. So that protected the thread. So what I did is I ended up threading it in and then worked it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until I finally, actually I ended up pulling it all the way out. That's what I did. Pulled it all the way out, used this little wire brush, cleaned up the rusty threads, put it back together. But broke my AutoZone breaker bar, broke my Mac breaker bar, broke this 3/4 to 1/2 inch adapter from Harbor Freight. Just completely destroyed stuff. So I've got a new Mac breaker bar on order, 24 inch. Mac is sending me out a new piece for my 18-inch one, and I ordered a 36-inch snap-on. So I'm gonna have breaker bars next time we have this issue. So that was fun. We are ready to start putting on these new parts. Here's the part number for these rollers. Here's this part number for the screws, the bolts, the nuts, the washers, it even tells you the size of those things. Okay, so that's everything there. We'll start putting these guys on. This paint is a little bit tacky still. So I'm gonna put my rollers on. I can put back on this track on this side. This side's ready to go. And then this side, I have to wait for that front idler to come in to fully finish this. And I might have messed up these threads a little bit, so I need to take all those back out, retorque that. I messed with that a little bit, didn't really help me. Oh, this is been a project. When I bought this machine, he said it had a new sprocket on it. He said it had a new hydraulic drive motor. He said the whole drive time had been through, but obviously this stuff has not been off in a very, very, very long time. Especially this side where it was froze up and couldn't be adjusted. So losing that track led to where we're at now, but I should have known better. If I were to buy this machine again, I would use the bucket, lift it up in the air, and then touch every single one of those idler rollers, and I would have known this thing was trash. Most of these machines are going for 15 or 20,000. I only paid $9 for it, so you know, right here, parts wise, we're going to be about $2,000, which sucks. But even if I paid $11,000 for the machine plus my time, we've got a good running machine, 2,200 hours on it. Tell you what, I thought this was going to be the easiest part, and this whole thing is just proving to fight me every step of the way. So just put these rollers on, and the carrier assembly was actually like clamped inward, so I had to pry it open in order to fit those in there. Additionally, this one, the little bearings had kind of become one with the metal, and so they had made a nice little ridge in there, so I had to get the grinder in there, grind that out. I ended up taking this bolt back out and using this wire wheel to clean off the last about 2 inches. It wasn't fully back, and then now I'm using anti-seize thread lubricant. Use that on these bolts on the back side where the nut is, as well as this whole thing is nice and lubricated up, and that should keep it from rusting. And I don't know if it's going to collect junk or not, but hopefully not rusting. And finally have this back together, have this all the way compressed in, got that bolt all the way pulled out. Now we can put our tracks on and tighten it up. I do not know the specs on the spring. What you do once the tracks are on, you send this bolt all the way out, and then that will compress the spring, and then that spring is supposed to be a certain length. And I've got a manual on order from Vermeer. If you have Vermeer equipment, if you give them your VIN number, they will send you all the manuals you want for it for free, which is awesome. So yeah, onto the tracks. I guess before we put on the tracks, so it's got some play in there where these slide in and out, but the bearing itself is really solid. These bearings are kind of tight. That one's better. Very tight. Hopefully that's right. But they've got about an inch total size, total diameter, so 1/2 an inch taller on all of these. This thing has always been a disaster getting on and off a trailer. Coming over that tipping point, it wants to rock all over the place. Once we found these roller bearings bad, figured that was the cause. So hopefully this machine rides better after this and loads on a trailer better. what do you know? It's probably still too loose, but I love it. I am so glad to have this thing coming back together. Got our new front idler from Vermeer today. That was about $350 from the dealer, direct ship. Been working on these roller pins. They've been fighting me. Finally got one out. Went to Napa and picked up this assorted set. This was 30 bucks. I went to actually O'Reilly first, and the biggest they had an assorted set for like 6 bucks. And they had like 10, 20 pieces, and the biggest was that size, so not big enough. This set has these 3/8 by 2 inch, but they're a little short. Google searched Tractor Supply, found these guys for $2 a piece. They're 3/8 by 2.5, so I figured these are about a 1/2 inch longer. So that should be a pretty close fit. They're actually a little longer, but if you size this guy up here, it's kind of short anyways. This was just too short. Wasn't really happy about that. So I think those will work. I hope those are the right size. They look like it. These are way smashed comparatively. My next step would have been Atwood's, but really I guess Tractor Supply would have been the best first stop for 4 bucks for the whole set. But we've got these for next time. Got to finish hammering this guy out. The best thing I found to do, the problem is with these, oh, this guy's stuck in here, but with these punches, is they start to mushroom out. They get down in the hole and then they start spreading it. So I just got this assorted little machine screw set, and I just stuck them on top of that pin, and that seemed to help evenly distribute the force. I've got a couple of those that I've burnt up. But they worked for me. A little bit of heat, a little bit of penetrating oil, really slow going. I did take a drill and I drilled down through them to get all the dirt and debris out, and that seemed to help give it some breathing room, let the penetrating oil in. Got to finish pounding this guy off and then put the new one on, new roller pins, put it on the machine, and then we're done. Whew. This has been, every step of the project has been a step. The new one definitely has more life on it. About a inch total, maybe 3/4 of an inch larger diameter on the original one. I am not replacing another idler at this time because the balls are still good. This one definitely needs to be repaired. In fact, you can see right there where that is messed up, and I did torch that a little bit. I will probably keep this as a spare, but it will probably never be on another machine again. Okay, I've got everything adjusted, ready to go back to work. What I ended up doing, I don't have the spec manual yet, but tightened the adjuster bolt here, and the spring length from this end of the spring to this end of the spring is about 10 inches on each side. It does have some deflection in the track. I don't know if that's too much. You can see out front here where that nose will pull in. It compresses that spring. But we will try that for now. Everything is moving now, everything's adjustable, so if the track does come off again, we can easily loosen that adjustment bolt, put it back on, retighten it. Once I get that manual, I'll probably come in here and retighten that to the correct spec. We've got all new rollers all the way across. I did take off this sprocket trying to mess with some things. I put Loctite back on those bolts, torqued those back down to like 150 foot-pounds. I tried taking this nut off, but that hub was stuck on there, so I couldn't get that off. I was trying to take the tracks off that way, ended up forcing the tracks off this way so that I could get to that bolt from the spring side to try to loosen it. New idler on this side. That was a pain in the butt, getting those roller pins off. This side of the tracks was actually easier to put on. Not as much collapsing in that carrier assembly. And every bolt that I took off, it seemed like the best thing to do was take a wire wheel and brush on it, and then I put the anti-seize on all of this to try to help prevent it from locking up again. So this side's good to go, all new rollers, new front idler, and tracks are in pretty good condition. These sprockets, looking at some new ones, they definitely are probably about 50% worn, so that's not great, but I'm 2,000 into this, and I really am kind of done. I'm tapped out on, well, I'm more than tapped out. I'm double what I wanted to be into this. Nobody wants to pay for repairs. Got it painted up, that looks nice. Put my stickers on, that looks nice. This other side, same thing, reused the old idler. It had, the bearings still had good, they didn't have a ton of play. Again, this spring tension right at about 10 inches from end to end. New idlers on this side, didn't mess with the sprocket on this side, and then that adjustment, or that bolt carrier. I thought those were maybe a custom carrier, but looking at other ones online, that looks like a factory pipe that's welded on there to protect that thread, which is a unique design. It's definitely not factory OEM looking. It's kind of just welded and crooked and all sorts of stuff. But this side on, I'm happier with the sticker on this side. It's not the best. These eBay stickers, they're definitely not a perfect OEM match. This one right here kind of wraps around this corner here, kind of funky. So I painted the bottom half. Looks really nice. The top half of the machine looks pretty good. A few scratches right here. Might want to paint those eventually. Last year I painted these arms, so you can see where my primer's scratched through too. Now those arms look so much better than the other ones did. And then you can see where I got some overspray on that Vermeer. I need to put a new Vermeer sticker on that front there. And really I need to repaint this whole front to match this yellow. This John Deere yellow is a pretty close match. So yeah, this machine back in business, and I'm hoping it rides better with those new rollers on there. It really should. It should maneuver a lot better. Well, that's a wrap on this video. Thanks for watching Thrifty Garage, and we will see you on the next one. Bobcat buckets in the shop for a second time. If you didn't see the video, I repaired this bucket, welded on these teeth, and recently this tooth fell off. I went ahead and extra welded it on.